And so he began to analyze as best he could his own life. From the very beginning, the time when he was 4 years old and the universe suddenly seemed to revolve around him, God doing all this for him, seeing things in different ways like other people might not see them, all the way to the present time when he had the ability to design things that other people never would even think about. And he concluded, I don't have a right to eliminate myself. I may not know what my purpose is in living, but the universe is speaking to me. And he felt like that God was speaking to him. He said it was like my soul was on my shoulder telling me, you don't have a right to eliminate yourself because you have the abilities that can be used to change the world. You have the abilities to bring people together. You have the abilities to help people see the world as one. All you have to do, the voice inside his mind and heart and soul said, is to live your life for others. Taking all of your experience and giving it on behalf of others. And then everything will fall into its proper place. He would ask the questions with such urgency that when the answers came into his mind, he did not doubt them. He went back to Anne and he told her exactly what had happened as best he could recall it, and she supported him totally. They moved into the cheapest apartment they could find. They saved every penny they could save, and he gave every part of his life that he could to trying to heal the universe from his little part of the world. He reasoned, I don't have the ability to heal human relationships, but I do have the abilities to design things that can be different for God's human beings. And that's what he began to do. He began to sketch and draw and create over and over and over again. Little Bucky, 4 years old, was in the world that God created for him. And as he drew, inventions began to be created. He became the Buckminster Fuller, who invented the geodesic dome. The most simple, the most durable, the most economical, the most elegant architectural design ever created till that time. The United States Marines bought 300 of those geodesic domes and used them. The United States Air Force took those geodesic domes for their bases in Antarctica. The great dome in Honolulu, the auditorium, the musical auditorium, that's 50 yards across in diameter, was built on Buckminster Fuller's geodesic dome, made out of aluminum, huge structure, incredibly efficient. It was built in 22 hours. He envisioned cities of the future that would be covered by transparent geodesic domes where the atmosphere would be perfect for human beings. And he's one of the first, if not the first, persons in the history of the world to envision the fact that we are not a bunch of nations here and there and everywhere. We, human beings on planet Earth, are like astronauts on spaceship Earth, needing one another, whether we're in Haiti or whether we're in Uganda or whether we're in Russia or whether we're in Japan or Germany, needing one another to survive. And so Buckminster Fuller went all over the world lecturing and talking about his ideas to crowds all over the world. During that time, he and Anne never stopped loving each other and never stopped loving Allegra. He was gone a lot of the time on lectures, though, and so he made a promise to the love of his life, to Anne. He promised her, I will die before you will. I promise you that, because I want to be on the other side to welcome you when you die, so you don't ever have to be afraid of dying. He was lecturing, he was 85 or 4 years old or whatever it was, lecturing in New York, and he got the call from Los Angeles, where they lived, that Ann had been taken to the hospital, that she was in a coma, and she wasn't going to make it. He got the first flight out, went to the hospital, went to the hospital room where his beloved Ann was in a coma, took her by her hand like he had his daughter so many years earlier, began to stroke her hand and speak comforting words to her that she was going to be all right, that she would be taken care of. He did that for the longest time, and she could not respond. And then he sat back in his chair, and he died. The nurse came in and found him. Several hours later, Ann died. I wonder, was it because Bucky had hoped all his life after Alexandra died that somehow he'd be able to make up to her his broken promise, or whether all his life he had hoped for the chance to make up to his beloved Ann, who loved Alexandra with every fiber of her being, make up to her the broken promise and promises that he had failed to keep when they were younger, or whether, maybe even more so, it was that voice that met him on the shores of Lake Michigan that was deep within him, calling him home, so that Alexandra could meet both him and Ann on the other side. That's the most you can hope for. What are you hoping for? Whatever you're hoping for in your life, whether it's you're hoping to be right in an argument with your wife or husband or your children, you're hoping for the ability to be old like this older couple I talked about first, who could beat the other person in some kind of argument and put each other down. If you're hoping for that, that's probably what you get. But on the other hand, if you're hoping for love that can change your world, if you're really hoping for that, that's what you'll get. That's what you'll get. Hymn of Invitation 488, just a closer walk with Thee. That's what I'm hoping for you and for me. May we stand and respond as God leads us. Father, as we gather together and share lunch together, if we're able to do that,